This is Mark Bell from SuperTraining.tv, Super Training Gym, the strongest gym in the West, answering more questions today for the Power Project. I am out here in San Diego, California, staying in a hotel room here with my boy Jesse Burdick. Imagine how disgusting that is. A room full of protein farts. Not a pretty sight. And then, plus, we're farting in our compression gear, which just makes things 10 times worse because it seeps out about 10 hours later. Anyway, it's not a pretty scene. We have some questions to answer today for the Power Project. This one's from Anti-VHT or something like that off of YouTube. His question is, he wants to know how many triples we do in our warm-up when we go up to a max effort single. And he goes on to say that he likes to do 5 sets of 3 and so on. I think somewhere along the lines you got confused with some different things that are going on out there. What I like is that you're getting in a lot of work. And I like to see that, according to what you're saying, you're making small enough jumps to where you're making your lifts, and that's fantastic. You also mentioned, how many triples do we do over 90%? It's really hard to do a triple at 90%, much less more than one set. So let's break some of this down a little bit. Let's always try to keep in mind of one thing. Man, that guy's car is a piece of shit. It's really loud. Let's try to always keep in mind one thing. Let's try to keep in mind the intent, the goal of the day. What's the goal of the day? What's the intent? What's the objective? Is the objective to do a max single, to lift as much as you possibly can? Let's say in the bench press, which is the example you used. Let's say the goal is to do a 500-pound raw bench. Well, I'm not going to try 455 for a triple. It's not going to give me the best opportunity to hit 500 for a single. So also realize each person is a little bit different. Each person is going to be a little bit different with the types of jumps they can make and the types of percentages they can handle. So be careful with how much weight you jump and things like that, and start to learn your own body and keep track of it. Normally for a raw lifter, though, even no matter what the strength level, usually 20 pounds is a pretty good jump once you start to get over 80-85% range. So that's something else to keep in mind. So keep in mind the goal, the intent of the day. If the intent of the day is to hit a max triple, there are 2 different ways you can go about doing it. But if the goal is to hit a max, an absolute max triple, then I would prefer doing it this way. I would do some sets of 5, I would do some sets of 3. The second anything felt hard or difficult, I would switch to singles. I think I got a little buffalo wing sauce on me right now. Did I get it? As soon as anything felt difficult, I'd switch to singles. Because again, the goal, the intent, the goal of the day is to hit a PR for a triple. So if that is the goal, if that is the intent, let's give ourselves the best opportunity to do that. So instead of doing 455 for a triple, you would do 405 for 1, 445 for 1, 475 for 1, and then maybe like 500. You can make different jumps depending on your ability. Some people can jump higher without any problem. So again, always keep in mind the goal, the intent of the day. That's always going to be the key. That's always going to lead to answering the questions for yourself. Should I work up on dynamic day? I don't know. Should you? Should I go heavier? I just did 365. Should I go heavier? What's the goal of the day? What's the intent? Was the intent to go in there and back down? Was the intent to go in there and do 96%? Or was the intent to go 100%? It really depends on the intent and the goal of the day. Typically on a max effort day, we're looking for a PR. There are circumstances, there are some occasions when you're going to do something different. Now, if in the case of if you're losing weight, such as I'm doing, if coming off an injury, such as I'm doing, you're going to want to use some trickery. Donnie Thompson, TM, that's Donnie Thompson word, trickery. You're going to want to use some trickery and some strategery to trick your body and to actually force yourself to lift a little bit less. And the reason you want to do that is for right here. To keep your mental sanity, to realize you're not always going to be able to keep up with yourself, but one day, hopefully sooner than later, you'll be able to outlift yourself. You'll be able to get PRs again. So if you want to do, let's say a heavy set of 3, but you're not concerned with the actual PR set of 3, then you would use sets of 3 all the way up. You would basically pre-fatigue yourself. So again, in the case of the bench press, we'll use 300 pounds as a max triple, let's just say. So if the goal is to reach 300 for a triple, but you're not really looking to necessarily PR, maybe your best is 315 or something like that, but you're looking to get more volume in, you're not necessarily concerned about the weight, you would do 275 for 3, you would do 290 for 3, and then you'd try about 300 for 3. Something along those lines. You're going to have to figure out the actual weights for yourself. Speaking of Donnie Thompson, I mentioned him a little bit earlier, but I think you're starting to get things a little bit confused with the Donnie Thompson squat cycle. Donnie Thompson's squat cycle suggests that you do 5 sets of 2. You work up about 20 pounds per set, and set number 6, 7, 8, or the next 2-3 sets after you finished your 5 sets of 2, you're going to hit up a couple of singles, and those are going to be heavy, and those are going to be pretty brutal. Where do you start on the Donnie Thompson squat cycle? And again, this is for the squat. I don't think Donnie recommends this for the bench, but I suppose you could try it. Sounds like you already are. But it's usually done for 2 reps. It's usually 5 sets of 2, and then it's followed up with a couple of singles. Now, my suggestion would be, if you're going to try to do something like this, to add a lot of volume and to still hit a pretty good single. It more than likely won't be your best single, but if you're going to try to do something like this, which I've had a lot of success with, I love doing this on squat day, because especially right now, I could care less what my actual max is. I'm not really concerned about that. As I head into March, which will be the next time I compete, next time I step on the platform, you bet your ass I'm gonna care about what my max single is on certain lifts. So for now, though, I'm doing 5 sets of 2. I work up about 20 pounds each time. If I had to put a number on it, I would say set number 1 is at a level 7, level 8. It's fairly difficult, and each set thereafter goes up maybe half a point. So it goes from like 7, let's say 7.0 to 7.5 and so on till all 5 sets are done. I don't want to give a percentage because it's kind of hard to wrap a percentage around some of this. But I really like it a lot. I'm enjoying it. It's working well for me. You may want to give it a try, but always keep in mind the intent, the goal of the day. That's going to lead you to your answer, and you won't have to ask me anymore. And that is it from supertraining.tv. I'm going to bed. Later.